Jon, we've got a completely packed house here, sold out. There's a ton of fans already in line. This is what this is about, is giving the fans the live opportunity to ask you some questions. But I want to kick it off quick if I could. We were so excited when we heard back in March of this year that you announced you'd be returning as the Punisher and Daredevil. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want spoilers. We don't want to know what happens. We want to be excited and watch it as fans. But just tell us a little bit about how exciting it was when you found out you'd be returning. Like, how did that feel, knowing that Charlie Vincent was back and that you'd be joining them?
Yeah, man. How ugly is this beard, man? Picture my wife won't even make out with me now. I'm not kidding. It's terrible.
Would anyone out there make out with Jon?
Nah, stop all that shit. You got a nice beard. Look, you put like beard balm in it or something?
I did put some beard balm just for you, Jon.
Did you? I'm having a hard time with this fucking beard. No, I mean, look, I don't know, Frank Castle, that man, it's just that, he means a lot to me, and the folks that love him mean a lot to me. The resonance it has in the military community, the law enforcement community, the comic fans. I think there's a little bit of Frank in everyone, and it's daunting, and I'm just super humbled by it, and I hope that we can get it right. If you're gonna do it, you gotta get it right.
Yeah. Well, we're excited. We can't wait. You mentioned law enforcement. You're such an important advocate, not only for current law enforcement, but also veterans. You do a lot for them. Veterans out there, military, law enforcement. Make some noise if you're a vet, you're in the military, law enforcement, you know somebody. Yeah, such important people in our lives. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of them for everything you do.
Man, thanks to them.
Yeah, appreciate it. All right, let's do this. We got a lot of fans in line. I want to get to as many questions as possible. So let's start over here. Say your name, first name, and then your question.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Jon. My name is Shay, first of all. And I wanted to preface this by saying my mom can't be here, but she says hi, and she's like your biggest fan.
Hi, Mom. What's her name?
Michelle.
What's up, Michelle?
Thank you. I actually wanted to ask, in your youth you did boxing, and then in college you found your passion for acting. So as a boxer myself who aspires to be an actor, could you please tell me a little bit about that time in your life and maybe some of the decisions that you may have made to get to where you are today?
Wow, cool question. I mean, look, I think they're, as you know, anybody who competes, anybody who steps in between the ropes, you're all by yourself there. I have the utmost respect for anybody who engages in combat sports. It's an exercise in overcoming things, overcoming pain, overcoming fear, challenging yourself. My little man is out here somewhere. He just started boxing. He's crushing it. Look, I think it's there's so much, not just from boxing, but I think I played football and baseball in college, and I just think sports in general. It teaches you work ethic, teaches you how to be part of a team, teaches you how to grind, how to win, how to learn, how to keep going. So I'm so grateful to all athletics and the lessons that I've learned, how to compete, and just how to keep going. I mean, there's no way you can play sports without a whole ton of failure. And I think in this world, the only things that matter are the things you fail at over and over again, but you keep going. And to me now, it's the work that I do, and it's fatherhood, it's family. You just keep grinding, keep pushing. You got to bump up against walls all the time, but there's nothing more important.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I wanted to ask about your training in the lead up to Fury. I was curious what you had to do to get ready for that role, mentally and physically.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your service. Look, that's the honor of what I get to do is the folks that I've met along the way and the folks that I get to learn from. There's no community that I've learned more from that have had such an impact on my life than the military community. On that film specifically, David Ayer, the guy who made the film, is a vet, who's in the Navy, He took it enormously seriously. It was an 8-month shoot. There was 3 months of pre-production, and in those 3 months of pre-production, we were instructed by a guy named Kevin Vance, who's a Navy SEAL, and a bunch of his teammates came out and ran us through a mini buzz course. And then we had 3 months of everything in that movie. Anytime you see the tank in that movie, my wife's calling, and mom's calling. Anytime you see the tank moving in that movie, that's us in the tank moving it. There were no days off every exterior. That's normally not the case. It's usually, the shitbag actors usually are chilling out in the hotel while everybody, all the real folks are moving the tank around. That wasn't that way in that movie. So for the first 3 months, you were sleeping in the tank, eating in the tank, pissing the shit in the tank. And, they say there's nothing in the world closer than a tank unit, You're enormously close to each other. You know how each other smells, how they breathe, every joke they're gonna make before they make it. And David really wanted to accomplish that in the film, and I think he did. I'll never forget that experience. They say, there's a line in that movie, it's the best job I ever had. It really was the best job I ever had. And I also want to say with that, we had the unbelievable honor of meeting some real vets from World War II, some real vets from the Armored Division, which is, they're a dying breed, they're the best among us, and that was incredible. I'll never forget it. And what an honor to be in that movie. So thank you for your question, thank you for your service.
So question, how do you get to the point of where Frank Castle? There's Jon and there's Frank, how do you psychologically get yourself to put that emotional makeup on?
Man, look. You do all, look, I think the way that this thing works, if you think about it, like take on what the character means to the comic book community, how long this character has existed in the hearts and the minds of all you folks and people who that character's existed in your hearts and your souls for years, right? That's responsibility. Then you take the law enforcement community, you take the military. There are people that have gone and fought for our country with that Punisher skull on their uniform, that's emboldened them to go take a walk that very few people will actually walk. So think about what that means. Think about, how important that is, what an honor it is for some shitbag like me to get to play that guy. So when you take all that, you realize that you take the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are making the show, that are writing the show, that the crew, everybody's there for one thing, and it's all for these few sacred seconds between action and cut. You might work for a year, and then there's only 25, 26 seconds between action and cut where we're really doing it. So you got to do something, depending on the proximity between those sacred seconds between action and cut, to get yourself there. And for me, personally, I got nothing against people that do it, but I can't go eat Chinese food. I can't go out to a nightclub or to a bar and then go play Frank Castle. I can't be in a state of joy and ease when I play that guy. I just can't do that.
So you go method-based?
I mean, I don't know, man. I think that word's bastardized, man. I lived in Russia, I studied over there. I don't think method acting means, hey, man, when you see me, only call me Frank, and I don't change my underwear, and I only eat what Frank. Right, but I think, I think that, you have to get yourself in a headspace, because it matters. This thing's got to be vital for you if you're going to do it, because it means so much to so many people. And for me, where I studied, the people that I came up with, it just means a lot to me. I was a total, my son's here. I was a total fuck up growing up. But I found this thing, and it saved my life. And now I got wonderful kids, wonderful marriage. I get to do what I love. It pays for my house. It pays for, it's a miracle. So I have to honor that every day. So it's not. There's method acting, trying to make everybody in the world know how hard you're working, and I think that that's stupid, right? But there's shit that you gotta do to prepare yourself when you get in proximity to action and cut. Depending on what you're gonna do, lock it down, man. And that might be 2 weeks before you start. It might be 20 minutes before you start. It might be a year before you start, depending on what you have to do, what the scene is. But I take that vitally seriously, and anytime I start slipping, I remind myself of how important this character is, and how important that skull is to so many people, and then I snap right out of it and say, stop fucking around.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Hi, John. My name is Heather.
Hey, Heather.
So my husband Frank is military and a huge Punisher fan, a fan of you as Punisher. Whereas the only thing about him that I know is that he shares the same name as my husband. So how would you pitch the show to me as like a viewer who's never seen the show? Sway me, John. Sway me.
Sway you? I mean, listen to your husband. He likes it. You should like it. Why not watch it together? You never know what will happen. I think that I think that it's a big misconception that there's like art for different kinds of people. There's art for blue states or red states, art for men, art for women, art for Republicans, art for Democrats. I think that's like a whole big bunch of bullshit. I think my approach with Frank Castle is. Look, he's definitely a man. I think maybe people sort of attribute these sort of uber masculine things to him, but I would argue that being sensitive, being kind, and going through pain, and struggling, and having empathy, and having dignity, and having integrity is just as masculine as rage and power and strength. And that's the Frank it's the only kind of Frank that I'm trying to play, you know what I mean? And honor his pain, that's really what it is. So I think it's a character study, I think it's a celebration, and it's hard hitting, but mostly I think if your husband digs it, you married your husband, so you probably,
I'll watch it tonight.
There you go. Start with Daredevil, man, they wrote it better.
Good story, great stories, great answers, great advice. Please give it up